Are you looking for a protective based class? Well, the Abjuration Wizard is the one for you. So as always, we're going to go level by level with a combat tutorial and even a list of items. So let's get to it. We begin with level 1, and the spells we're going to take for Abjuration Wizard are as follows. Firebolt for a ranged spell attack, Shocking Grasp for a melee spell attack, and then Rare Frost because I just like it as well. I like the difference between having a fire attack and a ice one. When it comes to your first level spells, we're going to start with Mage Armor. Protect a target from attacks. Increases armor class to 13 plus its dexterity modifier. Really good way of buffing your wizard up. Tash's Hideous Laughter. Leave a creature prone with laughter, without the ability to get up, and it lasts for 10 turns. It is concentration, so please bear that in mind. But what better way to protect yourself and your party than to eliminate an enemy on the battlefield by making them prone and unable to stand up and do anything. Shield. Shield is a really good way of taking no damage. It's a reaction, and when you're about to be hit by an enemy, increase your armor class by 5 and take no damage from magic missile. Really good way of protecting yourself, protecting your concentration spells, that sort of stuff. Long Strider. Increase a creature's movement speed by 3 meters, and this is a ritual spell, which means you can cast this as soon as you finish your long rest. Cast it on yourself, as many companions as possible, and it will not eat up any of your spell slots. False Life. Gains 7 temporary hit points. Now this does stack the higher up you cast it, to give you more temporary hit points. And in the early stages of the game, 7 hit points is a lot. I promise you, it will help. And Magic Missile. Shoot 3 magical darts, each dealing 2 to 5 force damage. They always hit their target. That's right, Magic Missile never misses, and Magic Missile is a great spell to have from level 1 to level 12. There are so many good uses for it. It comes in so handy in hard and killer boss fights. Magic Missile is a staple of any spellcaster. When it comes to your ability points, you need 8 in Strength, 14 Dex, 16 Constitution, 16 Intelligence, as this is your spellcasting modifier, 10 Wisdom, 10 Charisma. And for your proficiencies, take whatever you feel like. Okay, at level 2, we get to take our Abjuration subclass. You twist and harden the weave into arcane wards to protect yourself. So, the Abjuration Wizard gives us Abjuration Savant. Learning spells from this costs 25 gold instead of 50. That only counts for Abjuration spells. And Arcane Ward. The residual magic of your spells form a ward around you that protects you from harm. So Arcane Ward combined with Shield, combined with False Life, combined with Mage Armor, and you have such a tanky way of taking no damage, not dipping into your hit points, maintaining your concentration spells. Abjuration Wizards are so good. For your second level spells, we're going to take Thunderwave, as this is one of my favourite spells in the game. I put this on my top 10 list of spells. It's amazing for just throwing enemies off of balconies, high beams, causing them to take full damage, clearing enemies out your way, all sorts of stuff. We're also going to take Sleep. Put creatures into a magical slumber, select targets up to a combined 24 hit points. Again, this lasts for 2 turns, and much like Tash's Hideous Laughter, what better way to protect yourself and your allies than to just eliminate enemies off the battlefield so they can't do anything. Okay, Wizard level 3. This puts us with some level 2 spell slots now. And we have a plethora of options. So, we're going to start with Hold Person. Hold a humanoid enemy still. They can't move, act, or react. Attacks within 3 meters are always critical hits. So this is twofold. Not only is this a great protective spell, because if you can hold a creature, or multiple creatures, to stop them attacking, that's an amazing way to protect your allies. How this also works, though, is it causes you to do critical hits with your melee combatants. So if you have a fighter, or a barbarian, or a rogue with sneak attack, you are going to hit such high DPS. It's unbelievable, and you're going to dwindle the enemy numbers down so quickly. We're also going to take Mirror Image. Create 3 illusionary duplicates of yourself that distract attackers. Each duplicate increases your armor class by 3. Another good way of coupling this with Shield, Arcane Ward, Mage Armor. This isn't concentration, so this will stack with other things. So this is a great way of throwing up a hold person and then mirror imaging to protect yourself and make sure you maintain concentration. Okay, Wizard level 4, this gives us access to our first feat after we take a cantrip. And for this, let's take Light. We get access to 2 more spells. So, for me, these would be your options. I would take Misty Step, because Misty Step is a great way of getting yourself out of danger in a hurry. Really good way of just, if you're getting swarmed or if you need to get to another area, bonus actioning to teleport, and then you can still hit some of your spells. I would also take Web. Current area in thick, flammable weapon that slows creatures within and possibly enwebs them. Really good way of, if you can contain all your enemies, and then you can just fire at them with your ranged spell attacks or your arrows, that sort of thing. And also, because it is flammable, once you are over it, Fireball, or Firebolt I should say, set it on fire and then cause that burn damage. And for our ASI or feat, we are going to take ASI, and we're going to bump our intelligence up to 18. Okay, Wizard level 5, and we now have access to our level 3 spell slots. So, we have a few options here. First spell, Protection from Energy. Touch creature to grant it resistance to acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder damage. Really, really good if you're up against spellcasters, or if you're against enemies with a lot of acid attacks, or fire, that sort of thing. And Haste. Now, haste might sound a little weird, but there is logic to this. What better way to protect yourself and allies than to give your allies an extra action per turn? Put this on a fighter like Lae'zel and see her hit 3 attacks per turn, or put them on a barbarian to see them just absorb damage, or on your rogue to sneak attack and then still have another attack afterwards. Haste is amazing. Okay, we've hit level 6 for our wizard, which has given us Projected Ward. When a nearby ally takes damage and you have active Arcane Ward, you can sacrifice your ward to reduce the damage they take. And what's really good about this is that we are able to successfully and safely use our Projected Ward because we have things like Shield and Mirror Image. So this is just an extra way of we've allowed ourselves to protect ourselves even further, which means we can give up our ward to protect our allies. Now at level 6 there are 2 very easy options here. Counterspell, because sometimes you need to protect your allies with a counterspell. Fireball, stuff like that will do so much damage. Protect your allies, hit counterspell, and stop people from doing these huge damaging attacks. And Glyph of Warding. Glyph of Warding is a really good spell. It allows you to place a glyph of any type of damage available, whether it's thunder, cold, lightning, fire, water, whatever. Place it on the ground, and once it triggers, it will cause damage to everyone within the glyph. Really nice way if everyone is contained in like a staircase or an alleyway or in one area. Put this down, and at the end of your turn, if there are enemies within it, it will trigger. So bear that in mind. Okay, Wizard level 7, we now have our level 4 spell slots. So, we have more options we can take. And our first spell is going to be Fire Shield. Wreath your body in flames that shed light in a 3-meter radius, provide resistance to fire or cold damage, and retaliate against melee attacks. This is kind of like Armor of Akhthis, but for a wizard, and you can either do fire or cold. Great spell to have. We're also going to take Envard's Black Tentacles. I love this spell. This was another spell that was on my top 10 list, you can see on my channel here. And effectively, tentacles sprout from the ground, turning the area into difficult terrain, attacking and smothering creatures within. Much like our other spells that contain enemies, this is a really good one that will cause damage, slow enemies down, and allow you to just rain damage down with your spells or your arrows, that sort of thing. Okay, Wizard level 8, this will give us more spells and more access to feats and ASIs. But let's start with our spells. And first up, we are going to add some damage utility to our character and take Fireball. We are also going to take Conjure Minor Elemental. Conjure Minor Elemental to fight alongside you. Again, the theory behind this is what better way to protect yourself and your allies than to just throw an elemental down and allow them to be a bit of a meat shield on the battlefield. And for our feat, the ASI to bump our intelligence up to 20. Okay, Wizard level 9, we have access to level 5 spell slots now. First up, we are going to take Hold Monster. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Hold Monster is basically Hold Person, but on steroids. You can hold much bigger things now. Really good way of controlling the battlefield, protecting everyone. And now there are a few options you could have. Planar Binding. Now I really like Planar Binding, but it only works when you have otherworldly creatures, so you are restricted in how often you can use it. Conjure Elemental. Again, much like Conjure Minor Elemental, Conjure Elemental is a great way of having another meat shield on the battlefield. There is Cloud Kill, and I love Cloud Kill. Craft a large cloud that inflicts 5 to 40 poison damage per turn. You can reposition the cloud every turn, and it heavily obscures everything within it. This is a really good spell. Not only does it cause mass damage, it's a great way of protecting allies. And then there is also Banishment. Temporarily banish your target to another plane of existence. For me personally, I think the options are between Banishment and Cloud Kill. Take whichever one you want. Cloud Kill is Conjuration, Banishment is Abjuration, so it depends if you want to just stick purely with Abjuration spells. I think for me personally, Cloud Kill just gets it. One of my favourite spells in the game, and even though it is mainly a damage dealing spell, I do think it's a great spell to have for protection as well. Okay, Wizard level 10, Improved Abjuration. Each time you take a short rest, the intensity of your Arcade Ward increases by an amount equal to your Wizard level. Now, so this will increase by 10 because we're a level 10 Wizard. Really good stuff. We get access to one more cantrip, and I would take Minor Illusion. And now we have access to more spells, and I would take Conjure Elemental and Banishment like we spoke about previously. Wizard, level 11, level 6 spell slots unlocked, and there is so much good stuff here. First spell we are going to take, Otto's Irresistible Dance. Now, this might not sound like a protection-based spell on paper, but this spell, there is no saving throw for it. This works on Savrok, Orin, Gortash, anyone. Concentration, so bear that in mind, but you basically cause an enemy to not be able to do anything. They just stand there and dance. Your attackers will have advantage on them, and it's just a phenomenal spell, getting those enemies that should cripple you on the battlefield, and basically just eliminating them into a dancing just mess on the battlefield. And Globe of Invulnerability. Create a barrier that makes creatures and objects inside it immune to all damage. I have used this spell a lot. I use this a lot in the Baldur fight, and it's just amazing. Stand within it, fire arrows, fire your melee spells out, and it's phenomenal. And then finally, Wizard level 12, new feat, and we have more spells. And in this final level, you could honestly take whatever you really like. Sunbeam is really good. Wall of Ice can be really helpful. Disintegrate would probably be what I take here, because I think Disintegrate is just amazing. Chain Lightning would probably also be the other one. So now we've got 2 high-level damage-dealing spells and 2 high-level Abjuration-based spells. Now, for a feat or ASI, there are 2 options here that I would do. You could either take the ASI ability score, bump your Constitution up to 18, or you could take Resilient and go with Resilient Constitution, which will give you proficiency in Constitution saving throws. I think this is probably the better option. It will leave us with an odd number for con, but I do think it's worth taking. Okay, so that was our level by level guide. Let's go over some items. First up, the Hat of Fire Acoustic. Whenever you deal fire damage with Fireball, Firebolt, you gain Arcane Acuity for 2 turns. Arcane Acuity, affected entity has a +1 bonus to its spell attack rolls and spell difficulty class for the remaining turn. Really good way of using your cantrip and building that up. Cloak of Displacement. At the beginning of the wearer's turn, the cloak activates, granting enemies disadvantage on attack rolls that target the wearer. This effect lasts until the wearer takes damage. Again, another good way of protecting your concentration spells. The alternative to this would be the Cloak of Protection, which gives you a +1 to your AC. The Disintegrating Nightwalkers. Can't be enwebbed, entangled, or ensnared. Can't slip on grease or ice, because there's nothing worse than losing a concentration spell because of that stuff. And it also gives us Misty Step, which means we can remove Misty Step from our list of spells and take something more helpful at that point. The Robe of the Weave. Arcane Enchantment. Gain a +1 bonus to spell save DC and spell attack rolls. Weave Eater. Whenever the wearer succeeds a saving throw against the spell, They regain 1 to 6 hit points, and a +2 to our AC. The Braces of Defense, you gain a +2 bonus to armor class, as long as you're not wearing armor or holding a shield. The Shifting Corpus Ring gives us invisibility and blur, and this is just there for if you are stuck or you are in danger of being attacked. Throw this up, get yourself out of danger, whether it's with blur or invisibility. Just 2 good utility spells to help get yourself out of a sticky situation. The Ring of Regeneration, beginning of your turn, the ring activates and heals you to 1 to 4 hit points. Really good because if you want to keep your wizard alive, keep him in the battle and you're just getting swarmed, at least you'll regain hit points. Spellcrux Amulet, really good way of restoring spell slots, and you can pick level 6 spell slots. So take this and cast Otto's Irresistible Dance as much as you need to, and by that I mean twice. And for a staff, Marker Shear. This is probably the best staff in the game. Again, +1 bonus to spell save DC, and Arcane Battery. The next spell you cast doesn't cost a spell slot, which means you can theoretically couple this with your Spellcrux Amulet and have more level 6 spell slots per long rest. Really good way of just adding more spells and more high level spells to your repertoire. So that was my items for this build. Obviously there are going to be some differences, so if there's anything you feel would work better or anything you think differently, let me know in the comments below. But let's go and find some combat and test this build out. Okay, before the fight starts, as I said, cast False Life. Use it at level 1, because why not? And again, this is really good to use in your lower levels and earlier in the game, because 7 temporary hit points will add up. We can also come into here and do Mage Armor. And as you can see, it doesn't get any better the higher you cast it, so just do level 1 on yourself. And now we have gone, when I can press the right button, from a 15 AC to a 19 AC. Really, really good. Great way of maintaining concentration spells and stopping yourself from getting hit. Okay, we are in the fight, and as you can see, they have just tried to attack Jaheira, and our projected ward has started. And this is what the Abjuration Wizard is all about. Instantly, within round 1, the first couple of turns, it's allowing us to start protecting our allies. So, we throw that up, and as you can see, Jaheira took no damage apart from the little, overlay. Okay, and now it is our wizard's turn. So, there are a few things we could do. Let's start off by testing out some of our abilities and showing you how they work. So, let's start with Otto's Irresistible Dance. As I said, one of my favourite spells in the game, and there's no save for it. It will just land. And as you can see, this lovely barbarian is now just taken out of the fight. And if we were to place ourselves in a better position, so let's come down here, we can sort of stay here and we can just look after ourselves. We can also use our amulet for the spell slot restoration, regain that level 6 spell slot, and there you go. Now again, projected ward only took 6 damage. And as you can see, we don't need to worry about the barbarian now, we can just take out the gentleman here, and the barbarian will just stand here dancing. See, they get no turn. Okay, because we're still concentrating on that spell, we could then throw up some more stuff. So why don't we throw up a mirror image and really protect that spell we've got, which has taken out the biggest damage dealer in the party here. Now, as you can see, because we have advantage against this enemy, we have sneak attack abilities. So there you go, a huge hit, and we get advantage on every attack against the enemy. And we got another critical hit on that one. But as you know, Otto's Irresistible Dance is not the only spell we have. Let's show off some more stuff. So, we have Envard's Black Tentacles, 4th level spell, and let's throw this script down. Now unfortunately he did save for now, but he is stuck within difficult terrain. And what's really good about this is we can now, once the camera repositions, run as far out of danger as possible. And this allows us to keep enemies within it and just start raining down some damage. And the theory behind this is you just hit them with as much ranged spell attacks and arrow attacks as you can. For example, with our rogue, we can come in here, and we have advantage thanks to things like Guiding Bolt and stuff. So if you can set this up, really good way of eliminating enemies ASAP. And there you go. And with all that done, they are still within the difficult terrain. And just because we're concentrating on that doesn't mean we can't do some attacks. We could come in here with a fireball at level 3 and torch everyone. And because we've done a fire attack, this has given us Arcane Acuity. And let's say Shadowheart is an enemy, we could use our bonus action to Misty Step and remove ourselves from danger. Let's put ourselves here for our next turn. Again, another projected ward. 0 damage. The Abjuration Wizard really is a great defensive, protective wizard class. Or subclass, I should say. Okay, so let's say we're in a struggle here and you really just don't want to take any damage. We can use our 6th level spell slot for the Globe of Invulnerability. Throw ourselves in it. And now we are invulnerable. We cannot be hit. Now enemies can run inside here, but we are unable to attack anything. And nothing can attack us. And this is really good if you want to regroup and think about your options. So for example, with Shadowheart, we could dash up here.
Got to press on.
And now everyone is protected. And if you have like a Karlach or Lae'zel in your party and you really just want them to focus on the enemies, we have that a bit option because we can leave everyone here and we'll use our rogue in that situation to come and be our damage dealer and really tank as much as possible. And there you go, more projection wards. We've protected our rogue so many times during this fight. And because everyone is in the globe, we can really think about our options, and let's say we want to have a healing round. We can start healing with all of our characters. So, Jaheira needs it. And thanks to being in here, we could do things such as our Glyph of Warding. So let's say we want to throw the Glyph of Warding cold up. Or even better, let's do Glyph of Warding fire for the Arcane Acuity. We could place that here.
Blood follows me everywhere.
It will trigger, like I said, because of the end of their turn. And we can run back into our globe and protect ourselves. And as you can see down the side here, we still have 19 Arcane Ward. We are invulnerable. We're displaced. We have 3 mirror images and we have Mage Armor. We are so protected. And we can continue our healing round. Let's do the Cure Wounds on Jaheira. And now Jaheira is almost back to full health and is ready to jump back in the fight. Another projected ward because now we're stacking them up. Now another ability I picked that I would like to show off is Haste. Let's throw Haste upon our rogue. Just like that. And now he's going to have the option of doing an extra attack per turn. And as I said before, what better way to protect yourself than to start dealing even more damage. So, there's our first attack, and normally they would not have died, but thanks to Haste, we got the kill shot. And it means there's only one enemy left for everyone to worry about. And the good thing is, because Haste is done by our wizard and not by our rogue, we can move our wizard out of the way, and our rogue can get hit as much as they need to without worrying about losing concentration, which I think gives it a better option than using it from an item like the bow or anything like that. And thanks to Haste, we could do a sneak attack, because that is once per round, and we can still come in here with our attacks. So that is the Abjuration class, my pure build for it, and overall it is just such a protective, amazing spell to have. We still have our Mage Armor, our Mirror Image lasts the entire fight. Overall, just so good. And we ended the fight with a 28 AC, which means it would have been so hard for us to have been hit and lose concentration and stuff. And we have 18 arcade wards. If you have enjoyed, please drop the episode a like, it helps me amazingly. We did this build without a pure melee like attacker, so no barbarian, no fighter, and we pull through pretty successfully. We obviously did some stupid stuff to show off how the build works to protect people, but overall, it's just such a good class to have. So powerful. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, it helps me out amazingly, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.